Here's a list of top 10 secrets King Charles kept from Camilla about his lifestyle. Number 10. Turns out the royals aren't much different than us when it comes to wanting to treat the inner child. As King Charles is well into the 70s, it might be a surprise to some to find out that the king keeps a teddy bear with him, taking it everywhere he goes. There have been many stories about King Charles and his teddy bear. It was a pitiful object, Harry says in his book about his father's prized possession. With broken arms and dangly threads, holes patched up here and there, Teddy expressed eloquently, better than Pa ever could, the essential loneliness of his childhood. The king has had it in his possession since he was a young boy and apparently values it so much that he assigned a valet to oversee its well-being when he was in his 40s. When the well-worn stuffed animal was in need of mending, the now king's former nanny was allegedly asked to come out of retirement to fix the old bear. It seems like every time that Teddy needed to be repaired, you would think it was his own child having major surgery. Harry also jokes that he and his brother accepted their stepmother because their dad deserved better than the plush toy. Apologies to Teddy, Pa deserved a proper companion. That was why when asked, Willie and I promised Pa that we'd welcome Camilla into the family. Number 9, is King Charles secretly an acrobat too? According to Harry, when he was a young boy, his father would do a headstand every morning alone in his room, wearing only boxer shorts. He would also hang like a skilled acrobat from a bar. I wonder if Camilla joins him in doing this too, or if she just walks by like it's completely normal for the king to be upside down on his head in boxers. I gotta admit that is pretty impressive for someone as old as him, but it's also pretty funny to hear that at any given moment, if you walk into his room in the mornings, there's a chance you might catch him doing a headstand with nothing but boxer shorts on. I think every time I'll see a pic of Charles, that'll be the only thing I'll think of now. Did someone walk in on him doing a headstand today? It's definitely not the worst thing to catch someone doing in their bedroom, but as a king, seeing him upside down would definitely crack me up. Number 8, according to Harry, his father must have been a bloodhound in a former life. He was always sniffing things, food, roses, our hair, he writes. He adds that he took all these long sniffs because it was hard to smell anything over his personal scent. Eau sauvage. He'd slather the stuff on his cheeks, his neck, his shirt, flowery with a hint of something harsh like pepper or gunpowder. It was made in Paris. I bet Camilla makes sure she smells extra good every day just in case Charles wants to go ahead and sniff her. As a king, that has got to be the funniest things to do. Why are you going around and sniffing random things? At least Charles is making the most use out of his nose. If you're able to smell things, why not smell everything, right? I totally understand the logic, Charles. And considering his very strong cologne, I can only imagine how much Charles wants to be able to smell other things outside of himself. Number 7, King Charles is particular about how he likes his women presented. This was one of the reasons Harry asked Meghan to wear her hair down when they met for the first time. Her hair was down because I suggested she wear it that way. Pa likes it when women wear their hair down. Granny too. She often commented on Kate's beautiful mane. That's a fun fact for you guys. The royals like when you let down your hair. Also, Meg was wearing little makeup, which I'd also suggested, Harry continues. Pa didn't approve of women who wore a lot. And although the amount of makeup you wear is your own personal choice, I guess now you know if you ever want to flatter the King of England, make sure you present yourself naturally. Makes sense why Camilla is mostly seen with her hair down. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever seen the Queen consort with her hair up. Number 6, Harry claims that his father falls asleep on the job. He and his brother would find him at his desk amid mountains of bulging post bags. More than once, we discovered him face on the desk, fast asleep. We'd shake his shoulders and up he'd bob, a piece of paper stuck to his forehead. But considering his age, it might not be as much of a surprise that the king generally is more into relaxing than doing the royal work. At 73, most people his age are retiring and relaxing at their villas in Florida, but Charles is just starting a more intense chapter in the monarchy, which was also a reason people didn't think Charles would be fit to be king in old age. But what do you guys think? Personally, that's the most I've ever related to the king. I too am always tired and longing to take a nap no matter what time of day it is. Matter of fact, might even snooze a little after this video. Number 5, while it is common knowledge that royals aren't that into PDA, according to Prince Harry, his father didn't even hug him when he told him about the tragic accident that Princess Diana was involved in. This could be because Charles is just not used to showing it. I mean, have we ever seen any sort of PDA between Camilla and Charles? Or maybe Charles just doesn't know how to display physical affection, and in a situation as intense as telling his son his mother has passed on, he may have felt awkward or had no idea how to console Harry. What do you think? His other son William and daughter-in-law Kate have also rarely shown PDA as seen in pics of the couple. We can see where Will has gotten that trait from. The late Queen Elizabeth also refrained from showing PDA and wanted her family to also refrain from doing so, especially on business trips, because it seemed unprofessional. Harry and Meghan have casually bent this rule many times throughout their time as working royals, but considering they ended up stepping back, it's clear they didn't care much about a lot of the things done within the palace anyway. Number 4. Even though many might see the story of the Little Mermaid as a fairy tale, King Charles believes there might be some truth to the tale. According to Harry, Charles had once told him and Meg a story about Selkies, aka Scottish mermaids, who took the form of seals. So when you see a seal, he said, you can never tell. Sing to it. They often sing back. When Harry accused him of telling fairy tales, Charles responded, no, it's absolutely true. As convincing as the story is, we wonder if he's convinced Camilla or if she thinks he's deluded for believing in the mystical creatures. Other odd things to know about the king is that he has a number of highly specific must-haves on his travel packing list, including a custom toilet seat that accompanies him anytime he stays away from home. The claims of its existence are backed up by Tina Brown, who also mentioned it in her book The Palace Papers, released in April of this year. Brown also listed an orthopedic bed, a pair of Scottish landscape paintings, and Charles's favorite brand of toilet paper, Kleenex Velvet, among the items that are prepared to meet the monarch at his travel destinations. As you'd expect from a king, Charles takes his breakfast experience very seriously. Here's a very detailed description of what to expect if you're eating with Charles. The king's breakfast tray always contains a cup and saucer to the right with a silver spoon pointing outward at an angle of 5 o'clock. Butter must come in 3 balls and be chilled. The royal toast is always on a silver rack, never on a plate. Assorted jams, jellies, marmalades, and honey are served on a separate silver tray. The former prince is known to skip lunch but had similar expectations at dinner, which he usually eats, accompanied by a side salad and a soft-boiled egg, likely from one of his own chickens. Chefs in the royal kitchen normally prepared several 3-minute eggs before being satisfied that one had been cooked to meet the prince's standards of softness, Anderson alleges in The King. The rejects were discarded. What a waste of eggs, but as we said, the food experience seems to be very personal and serious for the king. Number 3, if you've ever wondered how Charles has remained as fit as he is all these years, the answer is his passion for hiking in the Highland. There are many benefits to walking, including helping to maintain a healthy weight, strengthening the bones and muscles, and improving muscle endurance. This simple exercise can prevent or manage health conditions such as heart disease, stroke, cancer, and type 2 diabetes, so get into it. Let's stay fit, guys. Camilla spoke about her husband's love of walking on BBC Radio 5's The Emma Barnett Show in June 2020, saying of Charles, he is probably the fittest man of his age I know. Divulging some of her husband's biggest secrets, Camilla continued, he'll walk and walk and walk, he's like a mountain goat, he leaves everybody miles behind. Charles has been open about his love of gardening and nature throughout his life. I can't blame him. Surrounding yourself in nature is a peaceful and amazing experience. I just come and talk to the plants, really. Very important to talk to them. They respond, I find, the then prince said in a 1986 interview. Charles also recently praised his youngest son Prince Harry's efforts on climate change awareness and his charity Archwell's commitment to being net zero. Charles has now taken on a role previously held by his father Prince Philip and is now the Ranger of Windsor Great Park, one of England's oldest land estates. Number 2, Charles was the first royal heir apparent to be educated outside of the palace. The young prince attended Hill House School in London, where he even interacted with other students. He later transferred to a boarding school that his father Prince Philip had attended. If you think bullies don't go after the royals, you're wrong. Charles was said to have experienced this during his childhood at his school. He would be made fun of for his ears that stick out quite a bit, as well as his weight. Well, I guess we know now that no matter how much money or power you have, there will always be haters. Sensitive and not particularly gifted athletically, Charles preferred his own company and loved to paint and draw. According to Vanity Fair, Charles was homesick during his time away at school and sent letters home on a weekly basis. I'd be homesick too if I had to move away from my huge palace just to get bullied. I get it, Charles. Number 1, a lot of Charles and Diana's first conversations took place over the phone. Less than a year after the couple began dating, and after only 13 in-person meetings, then Prince Charles and Lady Diana announced their engagement. The prince was clearly in a rush to wed. Since he was 32 at the time, he did end up marrying this 19-year-old Diana. But we need to circle back to the 13 in-person meetings. No wonder their marriage ended in shambles. They did not know enough about each other. Diana and Charles even wanted to call off the wedding. On July 29, 1981, Charles and Diana were married in a spectacular televised ceremony. It was then called the Wedding of the Century. Roughly 750 million people in 74 different countries tuned in to watch the couple tie the knot, in addition to the 600,000 spectators who lined the streets of London. When it came to Camilla, they obviously had spoken on the phone and met in person much more than with Diana. Considering they were still having an affair during his marriage with Diana, it's clear that he's always had a special spot for Camilla. And even though he initially did not have the approval of the throne to marry her, they did eventually get married in 2005. Considering everything we know so far about the king, I wonder what else there is that he's still hiding, and I wonder if Camilla knows some of these things, because honestly, like, standing on your head in your boxers is kind of odd, but he makes it work, I guess, since he's a king. I wonder what else is going down in Buckingham Palace that we still don't know about. But we also know that a lot of the things they do like to keep behind the closed doors of the palace. But that is all for today's top 10. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you next time on The Rich Life.